All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another late in the day favorite beverage and questions and answer session. And we're going to talk about not just angle grinders, that's lightly. We're going to talk about how you can prep metal for welding or how you can get more rust off of it, surface rust. So in one of the past videos, I talked about using Evapo-Rust. I'll show you the advertisement. Okay, now I did a video on that and it works okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I've had okay luck with it, but I don't use it that often really. I use more abrasive wheels. Okay, so I want to start off, I've got angle grinders here. One, this is the Hercules right here. This is a nice angle grinder from out at Harbor Freight. It's powerful, got the nice little paddle switch on here. And that's a whole nother topic in a video, but I wanted to talk about this because people get confused sometimes. Well, it says 5/8. Well, no, it says 7/8, and they go back and forth. Well, okay, it's a 7/8 inch hole that's on these for sliding your discs over and so forth, but the threading on here is 5/8. It's the shoulder part of this that it sets into that becomes the 7/8 that the hole goes through. And this little round flat washer here that you tighten on there secures and holds it on there. So don't let the 5/8 versus 7/8 mess you up. Most 4.5 inch angle grinders are going to be a 7/8 inch hole, and it's going to be 5/8 thread. Okay, and then you just slap right on there, tighten the nut, you're good to go. So I wanted to kind of unconfuse people because out at the club, one of the people, I mean, everybody's on varying levels of knowledge on different topics out at our little club that we meet at. And I wanted to explain that because some people get those two confused. Okay, so let's move on. Let's assume you want to de-rust something and it's got like a lot of rust on there, or it's got light rust, and it just depends on what you're going to do in terms of the project. Now, I've got a multitude of things here. I'll go through them with you, quickly. Explain to you what's good and what's bad. So one of the things that you can get are these abrasive wheels. This one I got out at Harbor Freight, and it's got a shaft on here to go onto a drill. This works okay for like small little projects. The wheel does not last that long. It kind of wears down very quickly. But if you're using it in a handheld drill or something, I suppose it would work okay. Okay, but if you wanted something better, right here, I got this off of Amazon, and I'll put the link up here in a sec for you. This is going to last a lot longer. It's made out of much, much better material. This is great for stripping paint off of like steel or any kind of a project or splatters that you got on something because of the material that it's made out of. And these work really well as long as you get a good quality one, okay? So let me set these to the side and we'll move on. Okay, so now the next question becomes what's readily available most of the time. You're going to find are grinding wheels. Okay, now when I bought this Hercules, it came with a Hercules grinding wheel. Now this works okay for cleaning up metal. I don't like them. I don't particularly like using them. It's just a preference thing. I rather use these flap wheels. Now the flap wheels, these are 4.5 inch, just like this grinding wheel. You can get these, I'll leave you the link below. I buy them from Benchmark Abrasives. I think that they work fairly well for me. I don't buy the real high-end ones that you get from Mercer and all of that. You can spend quite a bit of money on those. So let me show you the ad for these. Okay, so now you saw the ads for both. So you can spend a lot more money and get the much higher quality ones. These are kind of like, well, I'm going to call them middle of the road. I would put these grinding wheels less than that, but they do work. I'm not going to tell you that they don't. I just prefer not using them. I like these. Now you can get these from like 36 grit all the way up to 120 grit or so. So it depends on how shiny and how much of a finish you want to put on that metal project if that's what you're working on. Okay, so that's just my opinion on the usage of these. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll get rid of these real quick, and we'll talk about the wire wheels. Okay, so on this one, this is just another angle grinder. This is a Makita. This, like I said, is a Hercules. And I have about 4 of these, and I keep different wheels on each. But going back to cleaning metal or prepping it for welding or anything else, I always look at it, and you have to understand, metal is porous. I mean, if you look at it under a microscope, it's not absolutely flat. It does have pores in it, and that rust can kind of get in there and stick real good. What I find works very well are wire wheels. Now, the ones I will not buy are the ones from out at Harbor Freight. The little metal pieces of wire, they come flying off of you, and they'll stick in your clothes or into your arm like throwing darts at a dartboard. So I don't think the quality in manufacture is there, so I steer away from those. Now, there are a few. I just ordered a couple of more. I ordered one that's knotted, and I'm buying them now from Forney, and I'll show you the advertisement. Okay, now I get them off Amazon because I'm an affiliate and all of that good stuff, or I buy them from Air Gas, which is a company here in town, and they handle, you know, Forney products. So I can get them there. Sometimes they don't carry everything, and sometimes I get them off Amazon, and I like the fact they just ship to me and show up at my doorstep. If, like I said, if I'm out working, they just show up. That's great. Now, I did, while I was out at Home Depot, I picked up these. Now understand, they come like in a fine kind of wire to where, you know, if you just want to get rid of real light rust, something like this is a Milwaukee. I mean, and if you take a close look, you'll see that the metal fibers are super fine on this one. Now, I also got one from Bostitch right here. Now this, you can't really see it because of the labeling. They pasted all over this thing. But this is a super coarse one. I mean, and this one will really tear into that metal and tear off that rust or that corrosion or whatever you got going on. But then if I have my angle grinders set up, or, you know, of course you can switch them on and off the same angle grinder, but I have, for a project, I will line everything up. I've got a coarse on one, I have a fine on another, and I'll go from one to the other, and I can move along real smoothly. But I wanted you to know there is a difference. There's like something like this, which is super coarse, and you saw the pictures of the Forney, where you can get them in coarse or you can get them in fine. Here's one that goes on the end of a drill right here that I got, and this is one that's from Forney, and I can put this on a drill, and then from the drill, if it's nothing, like it's not a large project, it's not anything that really requires a whole lot of preparation, I can just use this, do it real quick, clean the metal super clean, I'm ready, call it weld prepping, I'm ready to weld. If I'm going to tear off paint or something, I might start off with the coarse wheel and then go to the fine. Okay, that's your choice. I think these work great for me in my home shop. And here's another one that goes on the end of an angle grinder, and this one's got more of a fine on it, and I use this a lot. I use the super coarse one on things that are really corroded and really kind of funky looking, and the coarse one will get that stuff off like right now. Okay, let's switch over to questions and answers, and I'll see what else I can answer for everybody. And some of the questions came from the forum, some of them came from the club, but let me see what's important and we'll talk about it right now. Okay, can you use these things on wood? Yeah, if you want to make it look distressed looking or something, sure you can. Or those flap wheels, you know, that have the abrasive on them. I don't mean the grinding ones, I mean the flap ones like I had right here. Yeah, you could use these, I mean, without a problem, but just remember, because of how fast they're turning, it's going to be really aggressive. Now, somebody had asked me if I had light rust on something and I was going to use one of these, what grit would I use? Well, if it's light rust, I would use 80 grit. I mean, if it's something that's really corroded and bad, you might want to start with 36. And then you can always switch over to, you know, the 80 grit. But if it's light rust, I would tell you 80 grit. What would I use to remove, you know, slag from welding, or if I used a plasma cutter? I would try 80 grit and then make my decision from there. I mean, if depending on how you used either one of those tools, you know, Mig Welding, arc welding, whatever, or plasma cutting, depending on the slag buildup, I just look at it and kind of go from there. But I mean, you probably do okay with 80 grit, to be honest. In terms of any of these wheels, can you use them, you know, for cutting concrete? No. If, look, they make specific blades for cutting concrete. Doesn't really have anything to do with what I was going to discuss today, but just it's a specific blade. And you got specific blades for grinding concrete. So you wouldn't use this to grind concrete. No, you'll destroy it in a second. What do I use on most of my projects? Okay, so let's just say I have a project and it's really rough and it's funky looking. I might start off with that 36 or 40 grit and just get everything torn down. But remember, that's not going to make it smooth, and it's going to have a really rough surface. Then I'll switch over to 80 grit, and I might call it done at that point. Or if you want something even better, you could go to the 120 grit. But that's the way that I approach most of my DIY projects. What do the grits come in? Well, you can get them like 36, 40 grit, then you can get like 80 grit, 120. I showed you some ads on Amazon. Click on the links below. You can make up your own mind on what kind of grits, you know, you might need for the project that you're doing. Well, if Benchmark's just an okay one, why do you keep buying them? Because they last longer than Harbor Freight ones, and they last longer than the DeWalt ones that I found, anyway, that I was using. They're not as good as the Mercer ones, I'm going to tell you that right now, but it's also 1/3 of the price of the Mercer ones. So, you know, if you get them in packets of 10 or, you know, what have you, you're going to save a lot of money, and these serve me well in the DIY weekend warrior kind of projects, so I continue to buy them. Which do I favor? Well, I explained that earlier. Which ones do I favor? I favor these over grinding discs. I mean, that's just me. Other people could disagree. I think it's fine. I think I've got more control over smoothing and blending welds into steel, you know, than using one of those grinding discs. I just happen to really like these. You know, they're made out of cubic zirconia. They work great. That's all I can say. Try them. You'll see for yourself. I think once you try them, you won't go back to those generic grinding wheels. Have I used the ones from out at Harbor Freight? Yeah. They work okay. They just don't last as long as these, and the price is not that much different, I didn't find. But in a pinch, and at other times I've picked some up and I've used them, and they're okay. I just would stay away from the wire wheels. I mean, but the abrasive discs, they're okay. I mean, these are better, and of course Mercer's even better than, you know, both of these. But the choice is up to you on which ones you pick. I mean, the Harbor Freight ones, the Benchmark, maybe the Mercer. There are other brands out there. I mean, I think Diablo makes them. I think, you know, there's probably, you know, DeWalt. I mean, a lot of these people make them. There's nothing wrong with the discs. They all work good. I just stick with what works for me, and I just keep reordering them, and they ship fast. So, but, you know, these are great for cleaning up steel and getting it ready for primer, paint, or just derusting things. Well, I can give you an example. Let's take, you know, the Mercer ones. You're looking at about $37, $38, and you're probably looking at $24, $25 for the Benchmark ones. I would just make sure that when you do buy them, let's say you got just a little quick project, nothing wrong with the Harbor Freight ones, but if you're going to buy these online, whether it's Mercer, Benchmark, or whatever, make sure you get the ones that are marked high density, okay? Because those are the ones that are going to last you longer. You buy some of these really El Cheapo ones that are one-offs, or they're knockoffs, or they're just, I don't know, mass advertised. You're not going to be happy with them. I've done it in the past, and I've gotten really some junk ones. I try these work great. That's what I can tell you. But there are other good ones. Okay, folks, well, I'm the Home Handyman. This was just a quick review, but you should add it to your collection of welding stuff. And yes, you can use a lot of these on wood for different effects, I will say. But, you know, you'll be able pretty soon to take a glance at a rusty piece of metal or something like that, and you'll know instantly what's going to clean it up and be the fastest and last you the longest. Most of the time I use these for smoothing down metal and blending it all in and making it look nice just before I go to primer and paint. Some of the other ones, the wire wheels and stuff, they're great for derusting. Alright folks, so I'm the Home Handyman. I hope you click subscribe. I hope you keep following me. Like I said in the past video, we talked about a vapor rust, phosphoric acid, different ways to derust things in a liquid form. That's not what this video is about. This video is about what I use the majority of the time. In the high 90 percentile, I will use a combination of these between the wheels and the discs. I will get that metal smooth, clean, looking good. And like I said, and then you're ready for paint or whatever you're going to do. But you do want to get the rust off. So if you know of something better, drop in the comment below. I left you all of the links below, and I'll see you in the next video, and we'll find other ways to keep saving money, and you can add to your tool collection for welding and other projects. Have a great day, folks. Bye-bye.